Hello, all of my fellow gamers and horror film fans. I'm Mike C. Welcome back into the Chrono Cabin. This is the Weekend Watch and Play edition. That's right, everyone. It is the weekend, and this is where I love to talk to you about all of the horror content I will be watching and all of the video games I will be playing this weekend. I hope everyone's excited for their weekend because I certainly am. Got a lot to talk about. We'll start with the horror content, and then we'll move on to the video games. I'm going to start things off with a Netflix horror thriller series. This is called Feria, The Darkest Light. This is a Spanish series that takes place in a small town in the Andalusian region of Spain. That is the southern region of Spain. It's actually a very beautiful location. This is about two sisters, Eva and Sofia, whose lives get quickly turned upside down when one night their parents disappear, and it's later revealed that their parents participated in a cult ritual that ended in the death of a lot of people at this abandoned mine. Yeah, a lot of bad things happen at abandoned mines. I typically tend to stay clear of abandoned mines. How many times have you ever come across an abandoned mine? Well, if you do, stay away from it. But not in this series, because in this series, I am finding myself actually wanting to go into the abandoned mine to find out what is really going on. If you like supernatural thrillers that deal with the occult, I think this series might be something interesting for you to watch. I've actually already started watching it, and I'm pretty far through the series at this point, so this weekend I'm actually just going to be finishing it up. I only have a couple episodes left. And I'm pretty sure they're going to do a season 2 because so far, at least from what I've read, this has been a pretty popular series. So hopefully it doesn't end on a total cliffhanger, because then it might be a while until I find out what actually happens. But even if it does end on a cliffhanger, I'm okay with it because it's been actually really entertaining to watch. I always talk about location in horror films, horror series, or any film in general. I like locations a lot, and this location is really, really beautiful. The small town where they filmed this is perched on a mountaintop, and it overlooks the sea. It looks really peaceful. It looks like an amazing place to actually live. In fact, I think they used people from the town that they filmed in here as extras, because some of the scenes, it looks very convincing. It looks like the people that actually live there. And I think it kind of adds to the realism. At any rate, it's a place I'd like to visit. Now, it's kind of like Archive 81, just in the sense that I'm finding myself really wanting to get through to the end to see what happens, because it's really kind of edge of your seat. You're really wondering what's going to happen, or at least I am. So that's part of why I really enjoy this. So I'll probably do a longer version of this when I actually finish season 1. The acting is really great. The character development is really good. There's a lot of great backstory in it. Can't have enough good things to say about it so far. And at this point, I've seen enough of it to know I definitely like it, and I'm excited to see the end of it. Moving on, we are going to go to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Netflix movie. I gotta say, am I that excited about it? Not really. I'm not a huge fan of the Texas Chainsaw franchise. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was made back in 1974. I really thought they did some interesting things on a very small budget. The budget was actually around $300,000. And what they accomplished with that amount of money, I think, was pretty good. You know, in those days, the film is really like one of the most expensive things, just the film stock. So what I do love about it, though, is it has an old film look to it at this point, and it adds kind of to the charm, if you will, of Leatherface. No, but I do like the original. I like it was very intriguing. There's a lot of complaints about the original. A lot of people say, a lot of horror fans say, the really scary scenes and the gory scenes are implied. You don't really see them so much as you do experience them through the acting, the eyes of the actors. And I don't mind that. I come from an old school background of horror movies. So if something is implied and you have to use your imagination, I honestly, I really don't mind that at all. But I do understand that newer horror fans, I mean, they like to see things, and I do too. But I appreciate the original. But then, gosh, like 15 years went by, and then in the mid 80s or somewhere in the late 80s, mid 80s, I can't remember, 1986, I think, they came out with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and they turned it into an 80s cheese fest. And it just And that's my problem with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. It's all over the place. It feels like it lacks an identity. The family name has changed multiple times. There's been multiple prequels with different stories. Leatherface's reason for killing has changed multiple times. I thought the original was actually rather interesting. He would wear masks, which is where we get Leatherface from, but he would change his masks at times. So he would have different masks for different emotions. So it showed you the different personalities of Leatherface. But over the years, the reasons for his killing has just kind of been all over the place. Now, I did like the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie with Jessica Biel. That was actually done pretty well. Jessica Biel was actually really, really good in that movie. She's a good actress, no surprise, but she did a great job in that movie. I like the 2006 version, and then I actually did go see the Texas Chainsaw 3D movie that came out in 2014. Can't remember the date exactly. Reason is I went and saw that a good friend of mine, Karam, who I've done some music with and I've known him for a long time. He was actually in the movie. He's a great actor. He's been in a lot of movies, and I mean for a long time he's been acting. But anyway, I just kind of went, and it was fun to actually see him in the movie. And I have to admit, like, I didn't really like the story so much, but the 3D element was kind of fun in the theater, like having a chainsaw fly at you in 3D. Kind of scary, but it actually worked out. Like, that was actually a really good movie for 3D, so the 3D part of it was really entertaining. So anyway, I'm sure that the new version is just going to be really gory. Probably the kills are just going to be really violent. It's going to be Rob Zombified. Nothing against Rob Zombie. I think Rob Zombie's really talented, but I don't like a lot of his movies because I think he just goes for shock value. Again, I like Rob Zombie. I think he's talented. I think he's a great musician. I do think he's a great director. Don't get me wrong. It's just not my cup of tea. So I'm anticipating that. But, you know, it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's part of a franchise. It's very historical. It's a really long-running franchise. It's older than Halloween, actually. So, you know, I figure why not? I'll check it out. The next movie I have on my list is a horror sci-fi movie, and it's on Netflix. It's called Darklight. I guess you could call this a Netflix weekend because all the stuff I'm watching is on Netflix. But yeah, it's called Darklight, and I think it came out in 2018 or 2019. This is about a mother and daughter, and the mother was recently divorced, and she's moving into her grandmother's old house. The grandmother left her the house. Her life is kind of stressful, but of course it gets way more stressful because there are these mysterious lights that start appearing, and then her daughter goes missing. I haven't heard much about this film. I don't know too much about it. I'm just going in, not having any huge expectations or anything. It looks like it's filmed well. If it's a good one, I will talk about it more in a future episode. Now, let's get on to gaming because there's a lot. Yes, there's actually too many games to play at this point. It's like all the games that were postponed last year are now all coming out. So I'll start on my Nintendo Switch. I actually am diving into Pokemon Arceus, and yeah, you know what I have to say? I am not necessarily a Pokemon fan. In fact, I haven't played any of the earlier Pokemon games. The only Pokemon game I played was the AR mobile game that came out, which was kind of interesting, and it was hugely popular for a while, and then it just like kind of seemed to disappear. Now, I should say there's no reason I haven't played Pokemon. It's just never really interested me that much, but I wanted to see what the hype was all about, so I went ahead and picked up the game, and I'm actually really enjoying it. It's turning out to be a very cool JRPG. Now, the biggest complaint from this game has been, one, the graphics, and yeah, the graphics are not great. I mean, it's not something that I'm going to see on my PS5 or that you'll see even on your PS4 Pro, whatever you may have, or your Xbox Series S. No, it's not. In fact, it looks a little dated, I have to admit. But I got to say, I actually kind of find the artwork charming. It's very clean looking. There is some artifacting that happens every now and then, especially here you can see on the windmill, or not the windmill, but the water wheel. Honestly, it doesn't detract for me. And you know what I always say about a good RPG or a good JRPG franchise is one that lets you jump in when you haven't played any of the previous games, and it's very welcoming. And that's the case with Pokemon that I'm finding. Pokemon Arceus. Pokemon Arceus is really welcoming to play. Like, I have never played Pokemon before, and I feel like I was able to jump in this game, figure out what was going on, don't have to worry about past plot points and missing out on that. No, I was able to jump in, just get going, and just start enjoying it. Honestly, I find this game rather relaxing. I know some Pokemon fans that are actually true to the original games don't necessarily like the newer mechanics, so to speak. I can't really say anything on that because obviously I haven't played the original ones, but I do like the open world. I like what they've done with this game, and there's a lot to do. I generally end up playing this game right before I go to bed because I do find it relaxing, unless you're going up against an alpha Pokemon or a very serious Pokemon that has some anger issues. But otherwise, yeah, it's charming, it's fun, I enjoy the music. It does kind of remind me of Breath of the Wild. I know that's what it's been related to, specifically with the sound effects. I mean, Breath of the Wild looks a lot better. But again, I do not mind the graphics in this, so I'll be diving into this over the weekend more. I've already started it, of course, but I'm going to be continuing to play it. One thing I do wish Arceus had is voiceover acting. If that could be my one big critique, I would say, like, add some voiceover acting. I'm fine with reading the dialogue, it's great, but I think it's just more interactive when you have actual well-done dialogue. And I know that's a big feat for a game like this because there is a lot of dialogue. But anyway, I will keep playing that this weekend. I'm enjoying filling up that Pokedex. On to my PS5, I am playing Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, a Wonderland's one-shot adventure. Wow, that's a mouthful to say. This was a PS Plus game that I got free in February, so I thought I'd go ahead and play it. I know this has been a point of contention with PS Plus subscribers, and rightfully so. This is DLC content for Borderlands 2, which is an older game, so this is old DLC content that they basically made into a small game, like a mini game. I don't mind it though because I never played this downloadable content. I'm a Borderlands fan, and so I am actually enjoying going back and playing this content. The reason that they launched this is because Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is about to come out in March. So this is kind of trying to get people amped up for it. I don't think it's necessarily the best way to do it. I'm actually enjoying it. I did like Borderlands 2 a lot. In playing this, it does feel a little dated, but I actually like the whole Borderlands look with the fantasy theme to it. I think it's a lot of fun. That's why I'm actually looking forward to Tiny Tina's Wonderlands when it does come out. I think that's going to be a pretty good game. One thing I like though is the music. It's a little different from the Borderlands heavy guitar riffs, and it's kind of very fantasy-like, and they use a lot of flute. There's a lot of like flute runs. It actually kind of reminds me a little bit of The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. There's a bit of a Halloween feel to it all. Now, don't get me wrong, these are very different soundtracks, obviously, but it's just the little intermittent flute lines that they do. It has a very Halloween feel to it. In fact, this game would probably be more fun to play around Halloween time, just to kind of get you into the Halloween spirit. But hey, I'm having a good time playing it nonetheless, and I'm happy to be playing it because I am going to play Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Not that you'd have to play this game to play it, but it's kind of getting me in the mood and getting me ready for it. So I'm having fun with this one. Now, I did pass Tales of Arise, so I won't be playing that necessarily this weekend, although I'll probably do some additional content on the game. I really, really enjoyed this game. I can't say enough about it. If you're interested in getting into JRPGs, then I think this game would be a good game to get into, even if you haven't played any of the other Tales games, and there are a lot of other Tales games. Again, what I really like about this JRPG is that it's very welcoming to new players. I really, really enjoyed this game. I have to say, it took me longer than I thought to pass it. I thought I was going to pass it a couple weeks back, but the game kind of kept going. That's very typical JRPGs. They are quite long, but this one, it didn't get old for me at all. In fact, I could have passed it sooner, but I was doing a lot of the side missions and the side quests just because I really enjoyed it. I actually ended up getting quite a few trophies on it, and I might go back and try to get a few more playing off my clear save. Lastly, this weekend, I am also getting into Horizon Zero Dawn. You might be asking, well, wait, Horizon Forbidden West just came out. Why are you playing Horizon Zero Dawn? Well, the reason is very simple. I never played Horizon Zero Dawn. Again, there was just, at the time this game came out, there was just a lot of games that I was playing, and I just didn't get to it. No particular reason. But I decided, you know what? I'm just going to wait for Horizon Forbidden West to go on sale. In the meantime, I'm going to play through Horizon Zero Dawn, because this way I get to play them back to back. So I kind of like doing that. I did all the Borderlands games that way, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see the evolution of the game. So I have to say, I really like Horizon Zero Dawn. So I can see, if you played this, why everyone's so hyped for Horizon Forbidden West, because this is a great game. Horizon Zero Dawn is awesome. It reminds me a little bit of Days Gone, just in the fact that you clear out certain bandit camps, you clear out infected areas. It reminds me a little of that gameplay, and I like it. It's the same kind of open world style game, so a lot of similarities, I think. And I really like Days Gone. I love this game though. I'm really impressed with the way it looks, and I know it's an older game, but it's a lot of fun to play through. Honestly, I don't have much else to say about this game, except I'm just really enjoying it. I like the crafting, I just like the controls, I like the music, I just like the overall ambiance of the game, I like the characters, I like the story. I'd say if you never played Zero Dawn and you got it on your monthly PS Plus game, then play it. Even if you didn't get it on the PS Plus monthly game, you could always just buy it. I mean, you can get it for under $20 at this point, and it's money well spent. So really enjoying getting further into that game. And then, yeah, there's so much games coming out. I haven't even touched Elden Ring yet. I'm a little apprehensive about getting into Elden Ring, just because I haven't really been a Souls player. Those games are very hard, very difficult. I hear this one is more inviting. I probably will get to it at some point. It's right up my alley. I love that style of game, although I don't know about the hardness factor, the difficulty. We'll just have to see. But for right now, I got my plate full. It's going to be a fun weekend. I hope all of you have a great weekend as well. If you like my channel, if you enjoy my content, please go ahead and subscribe. Give this video a like. You can ring that bell for future notifications whenever I release new content. As always, everyone, I hope you have a great weekend. Keep watching those horror movies and keep playing those video games, and I will see you soon.